last June, this can be really important for energy security of a country. So it's great to see that France may be finally warming up to the idea after many, many years of deliberation. So fingers crossed for that. Thank you. So I would like to now move to Madam Minister. So Morocco is a country that is still very much based on fossil fuels. If I'm not mistaken, probably 70% of electricity generation is still fossil fuel based, mainly coal. But it has made big progress over the past few years in renewables. And Morocco is really blessed with abundant renewable resources, wind and solar, especially wind. So my question would be, because here on this continent, or in the EU, we generally view energy transition as something, or especially in Poland, as something that has been imposed on us, if you will. Something that is, you know, these are European Union goals, we need to meet them. But Morocco is not a member of EU, yet it's still moving forward with energy transition. So if you could explain to us why and how the energy transition is viewed in the sort of energy strategy of your country, and what are the goals and how do you want to get there with your energy strategy?
Thank you very much. No, I think it's, when I sat down on this panel, I thought, it struck me that I will probably be the only one in this panel with my friend, the minister from Estonia, who will talk about diversification. Because that, for us, is really written in our DNA. And our energy strategy has been stable, the same boring triangle since 2009, thanks to His Majesty. And we have that long-term vision that enabled us to not only to sign long-term partnerships, and the partnership that we signed with France in October of last year at the occasion of the visit of President Macron was really important. So I'm very pleased to hear that energy connectivity is back on the agenda, or is making its space in the agenda, because for us it's the third key pillar of our energy strategy, and it's non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable for sustainability reasons. As you rightly pointed out, we really want to expand our renewable fleet, so we have already exceeded our 45% of electricity capacity based on renewable last year. And we are reaching our 2030 target next year, which is 52% of installed capacity based on the renewables. Now, you will tell me having installed capacity is not sufficient. You need those electrons to make it to the grid. Well, yeah, fine. Absolutely. The problem that we faced is, like many other countries, and I'm not going to point to any particular country, we have invested a lot in rural electrification, so we have reached 99.8% of electrification of the country, but at the expense of investing in the grids. And today, when our government came into place in 2021, I mean, I had two major energy crises, 4 months before the Russia-Ukraine war started. The first one was Algeria cutting the gas to Spain, and Morocco being a transit country. So I had 10% of the installed capacity that was dependent on that gas that we had to work to restart. And I was lucky to have on the other side of the Mediterranean, a very fantastic lady, Teresa Ribera, who was Energy Minister of Spain, and we were able, in a matter of a few weeks, just on a handshake between two ladies, to reverse a transcontinental pipeline and give access to energy security to Morocco. And also, there's another aspect that I want to highlight here. When Spain faced its blackout last June, we were able, because we have invested in connectors between Africa and Europe. Morocco is the only African country today interconnected with Europe, gas-wise, but also electricity-wise and bidirectionally, and we are pushing ahead with like-minded allies and countries to increase that connectivity between the two continents, because for us it's a matter of energy security, and for our friends on the other side of the continent, it's a matter of security and sustainability so that we can provide to our populations access to stable, secure, but also low-cost and sustainable energy. So it's very important to keep in mind that today in 2025, there is actually no contradiction between security and sustainability. They actually complement each other.
Yes, thank you for that, because exactly that I want to bring this out of this panel, that really energy security, energy transition means energy security and means energy independence and sovereignty. And that's what we are striving for. I want to maybe explore a bit more this interconnectivity issue, because we've also heard for a long time, I've been, as long as I've been in the sector probably, we've been talking about bringing Africa's solar power to Europe. There was this famous Desert Tech project in the 2010s, I believe, that didn't go through. Now there was a project between Morocco and UK that was supposed to bring electricity to the UK. It has also been not successful so far. So how do you view that? And maybe whether, you know, coming back to the issue that Morocco still needs also the solar and the wind domestically for your own needs, how do you view that imperative to supply Europe with energy, maybe before you supply your own needs?
I usually tell my partners, colleagues in Europe, in Africa, in the major geopolitical blocs that are investing today in the main clean tech technologies, that it takes two to tango. We cannot build a cable or reverse a pipeline or build hydrogen highways, if we still believe in green hydrogen, if there is no partner on the other side who is willing to have first that long-term vision, but also commit to non-binding offtake contracts. Because at the end of the day, you need to have some confidence on both sides. And it's very important if you have on both sides a conviction that if you build a cable between, let's say, France and Morocco, and I'm not saying that because you're sitting next to me, Clément Beaune, but because we have been discussing that. And it's very much public knowledge that we have looked into it, and we have looked into the major challenges. And these challenges, as Clément rightly pointed out, are not the technology challenges that you can think of. They are incumbents who would be resisting change. So as long as we don't put in place the governance needed to insulate the decision-making process in the energy sector from that sort of resistance, we will never be able to really increase connectivity between our markets. I mean, the European market has been built on a coalition. At the time it was, right, a coalition of coal and steel. I see that today, if you are really serious about energy security being important on both sides of the Mediterranean, I think it's high time to build a similar coalition, regardless of whether we are members of the EU or not, because the sun doesn't choose where to shine, and the markets do not choose where to develop.
Yes, absolutely. I fully agree. Thank you for that. And let's remember this interconnectivity. We'll come back to that issue later on, but that's probably how Europe can get stronger with interconnectivity with